Also late today, a meeting at the White House between the president and congressional leaders about Syria ended in fireworks. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer stormed out amid the Democrats' ongoing impeachment probe. Hanging over all this as well, Republicans continue to call the inquest illegitimate since Pelosi refuses to call a formal vote. Pelosi says she doesn't have to.
We're not here to call bluffs. We're here to find the truth, to uphold the Constitution of the United States. This is not a game for us. This is deadly serious. All roads seem to lead to Putin with the president, though. Isn't it so?
Well, we'll see about that. Earlier today, we talked to Bill O'Reilly, host of No Spin News here on Newsmax TV. We talked about the congressional pushback on Syria and Turkey and Nancy Pelosi's impeachment push, as well as his new book. Well, the new book is called The United States of Trump, How the President Really Sees America. It's a provocative look at the presidency and President Trump. And no surprise here, it was an instant bestseller and remains on the New York Times bestseller list. Bill, congrats on the success of the new book. Great to see you again. And of course, I want to talk more about the book.
Thank you, John.
Great to have you. If it's okay with you, I want to start with the Democrats and their impeachment quest. Nancy Pelosi, she claims impeachment doesn't need a vote. You and others say she's made a bet that the Ukraine call would sway public opinion in the media to the point that the impeachment could still be viable. Some point down the road, we don't know when that's going to be. The odds are, though, Pelosi, will she ever call a vote? But what's your take here? Do you think Pelosi ever actually calls this impeachment vote?
It's impossible to say because there really isn't enough evidence for the American people. Now, I'm not talking about her Democrat Congress cadre. I'm talking about the folks.
Right.
So what's the crime? You know, John, everybody knows me. Wherever I go, people come up and they ask questions. And not conservative. There's liberal people, independent people, traditional people. And the last 3 weeks has been, what is this impeachment?
Right.
And I always just say to them, let me ask you a question. What's the crime? Nobody has an answer. Nobody.
Right.
What is it that he did? So when you have public opinion really not knowing what it's all about, I don't see, a big future for this. But, politics pretty brutal in this country at this point.
Do you think it was a miscalculation by Pelosi or a risk she felt like she had to take given the mounting pressure on her from some in the Democratic caucus?
I don't think it has anything to do with Nancy Pelosi. I think the media wants this impeachment, and Pelosi is along for the ride. All right, so here's my take on it, and it's different than most other people. The media, and I'm talking about New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, NBC News primarily, they see danger in the election next year. Because if you watched the debate last night, is there anybody on that stage, John, that has captured the imagination of the American people? Is there a Bill Clinton on that stage?
No one.
A Barack Obama on that stage?
Nope.
All right. So the field is extremely radical left and boring to boot. The only guy with any charisma is Buttigieg, and he don't have any chance.
Right.
So the media knows that Trump could get reelected, so they want some kind of move to damage him so much or get him out of office that they're behind this push, and Pelosi's going along with it.
You can't seem to hold off the media either. What do you think about the president's strategy thus far dealing with Democrats and impeachment? He's playing hardball. Do you think it's a winning strategy?
I think the president's making a mistake by not being more assertive in his contention that this is a fraud. Number one, Donald Trump should go on television, not in a Q&A, just him looking at you for about 10 to 15 minutes saying, this is what happened vis-a-vis Ukraine. This is why I did what I did. This is why there was a delay in aid going over there. And this is why the whole thing's a political fraud. Those three things. Talk to the folks directly. All right? That's all you need to do. No tweet, no Q&A with some reporter trying to make you look bad. Just you and the folks. That's number one. Number two, the Trump administration is perfectly within its right constitutionally to say to Nancy Pelosi and the other Democrats in the House, hey, you made this up. This is based on nothing. You want to do it? You go do it. We're not going to help you. And we'll put it into the courts. Let them decide, because that's what the play would be. I don't see anything wrong with that. But I think the president's got to go on offense.
Yeah, and basically what the Democrats are doing is like a police detective who's holding a suspect in a interrogation room where they don't have enough evidence to charge him, and they don't know what to do now. They don't want to let him go back out into the street. They think they have something on President Trump, but they clearly don't have the evidence, as you indicated, to move forward with impeachment. And what about this stuff with Rudy Giuliani? His business associates were arrested now. The Washington Post is reporting that Giuliani perhaps tried to lobby the president to extradite this anti-Erdogan dissident back to Turkey. The president says he's standing by his attorney. Do you see the former New York City mayor as a liability for the president right now?
I don't know anything about this. I don't trust what I read, number one, because the press is going to try to hurt Rudy Giuliani and by extension, Donald Trump. I don't know what Giuliani did or didn't do. You know, he runs a company that does work overseas and consults for various governments. So I can't really say. I don't think Rudy Giuliani is the best spokesperson for Donald Trump at this point. I think he should recede back. But as far as what he did and didn't do, I don't know.
Well, Bill, as you know, I pay a lot of attention to what you say. About a month ago, you chided President Trump for the way the John Bolton exit happened from the White House. There was testimony yesterday that was leaked out, and this is what Democrats want to have happen. They want this testimony to leak out. This Bolton apparently called Giuliani a hand grenade who was going to blow everybody up. Do you think Bolton might be trying to settle some scores, or was this strictly this bureaucrat, this diplomat who wanted to throw more mud in this situation?
I don't believe anonymous reports, John. Sometimes they turn out to be true, but often they don't. This is an anonymous report. Somebody telling somebody that John Bolton said Rudy Giuliani was a hand grenade. I don't know if that's true. I don't know what the context of the conversation was. I don't know anything. So as an honest journalist, somebody who wants to bring valid, provable information to the public, I can't comment on it. I can tell you I don't think Rudy Giuliani is the best spokesperson for Donald Trump right now for a variety of reasons. But as far as John Bolton is concerned and his motivations, no idea.
Well, let's talk about the debate a little bit more. Elizabeth Warren, and clearly the front runner now, and you can tell by the way that she was attacked by her fellow 2020 candidates. I want to play an exchange here between Warren, Pete Buttigieg, and Amy Klobuchar, hitting Elizabeth Warren for not being able to explain whether or not her health care plan would tax middle-class families. Take a listen.
I will not sign a bill into law that does not lower costs for middle-class families.
Well, we heard it tonight, a yes or no question that didn't get a yes or no answer. Look, this is why people here in the Midwest are so frustrated with Washington in general and Capitol Hill in particular. Your signature, Senator, is to have a plan for everything except this.
At least Bernie's being honest here and saying how he's going to pay for this and that taxes are going to go up. And I'm sorry, Elizabeth, but you have not said that. And I think we owe it to the American people to tell them where we're going to send the invoice.
It's a simple question, right, Bill? Yes or no? Is your health care plan going to raise taxes on middle-class families?
Look, all of these people on the stage last night all want the government to primarily run the healthcare system. All right? That's what they want. Now, it's varying degrees. Some want private insurance to still be around. Others, like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, don't. They want the government to say, hey, John, here's what you do. Here's what you pay. So to me, when I'm listening to all of this stuff, I go, it really doesn't matter, does it? Elizabeth Warren knows there's a $22 trillion debt in America. We owe, as a country, owe $22 trillion. She also knows that if the government runs the healthcare system, you're going to tack on another $20 trillion, no matter how much you tax the very few wealthy people. She knows it, but she's not going to admit it.
No.
Because then people would go, I'm not for that. I don't want to bankrupt the country. So that's why she doesn't admit it.
Let's talk about this foreign policy issue. President Trump taking questions at the White House today about this whole situation with northern Syria and Turkey. He says we're in a better position now strategically. Here's the president.
Our soldiers are not in harm's way, as they shouldn't be, as two countries fight over land. That has nothing to do with us. So I think we're in a very strategically good position. I know the fake news doesn't make it look that way, but we've removed all of our, as we said, 50 soldiers, but much less than 50 soldiers. They're now in a very safe location, heading into an even safer location.
Bill, is the president making the right decision? He seems to be going it alone here, but he's sticking to his guns.
Listen, if you read the United States of Trump, John, one of the things that drives Donald Trump crazy is having U.S. forces in foreign countries where they're at risk and it costs a lot of money to keep them there. Drives him nuts, all right? He campaigned against it. Everybody knows he doesn't want it. In this case, the U.S. forces in northern Syria were a stabilizer, which means they could protect people there, innocent people, and they could keep an eye on ISIS infiltration and all that. He doesn't feel it's worth it, that stabilization, because American lives are in danger. So he's moving them back to Iraq. They're still close. And he has no concern about Kurds versus Turks versus Syrians. He doesn't care. Now, the American people have to make up their mind on whether they do care, because the president doesn't care.
And he doesn't seem to care if they care or not, because he's taken a lot of flack for it, and a lot of Republicans in Congress are pushing back, but he doesn't seem to be bothered by that. And as you mentioned, he ran on this, and he's going to stick to his guns.
Right. He's taken a calculation. His gut tells him that most Americans believe the way he does, and you got to get our people out of there because it's never ending. And he may be right. He certainly was right on a lot of other things that the pundits lashed him on.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing news channel. Newsmax TV is now available for free on your smartphone. Just go to your iPhone or Android store and download the free Newsmax TV app. Then you can watch free TV news with an American spin anytime, anywhere in the world. Newsmax TV, real news for real people.